set up that we just got today. I'm pretty excited about that. But I want to do the formal introduction now.
Yes.
I'm Steve Dean. This is Pocket Silbermintz.
Hey.
And our guest today is
I'm Alex.
Alex Kern of Pavlov. And we are here to talk about chatbots. I think in the last year they've basically, everyone thinks of Smarter Child when they originally, like the first thought that comes to mind when you think of a chatbot is like, oh, I remember that I talked about that on AIM. I had my little Smarter Child friend. But now they can actually do pretty cool things. And as I've learned, going from someone who has very little technical skill, they can now be built by someone with very little technical skill in the span of less than a half hour. Going from literally zero knowledge of how a chatbot works or how anything about it functions to being adept enough to be able to build your own that seems intelligent. I've built, I think, 3 or 4 now, each of which, like the first one took me like 3 or 4 hours, but then I found like a better piece of software, and now, like,
Was that the one I made with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like a hackathon.
You gotta show me what software you're using now.
Now I have it down to under a half hour to get one smart enough that it can get people to believe that it's a person, if only temporarily, until they, talk to it a little bit longer. So I'm pretty excited about like just what the promise of chatbots holds. Although there's still, it's a craze right now, and it's something that I think it's starting to stabilize more. But I want to understand a little bit more from Alex's perspective, what the hell we should be thinking about.
Yeah, you live and breathe it, man. You gotta tell us.
And what you've done with it. Like what are interesting things you've either done like at a hackathon or just whatever you care to talk about in terms of chatbots, because like
Sure.
Yeah.
So if anything, chatbots probably hit the hype cycle like faster than any other trend I've ever seen. There was like this initial excitement about it that was mainly popularized by Facebook at their F8 conference, and a little bit before that as well with like Magic, that kind of was starting this like idea that
was kind of insane.
Yeah, and it blew up. Like I saw more Medium articles about chatbots than I've ever seen about any other topic, except for what you should do with your life ever. So
when was that?
February.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. There's been inklings about this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The timeline to me was like the Ethan app, right, and then Magic, and meanwhile, me and Steve were talking about the Pocket app and the Steve app, and then right after that, it was just the flood of everyone.
Yeah.
and my observation on that, my 2-cent observation on that was that it went immediately from people taking chatbots in a very interesting personal direction to, okay, everyone's going to automate things with machine learning. So, because Ethan was one person, and then, yeah.
Yeah. In many ways, those were like kind of two independent trends. The advances in machine learning that have come out have partly been around natural language processing, which is under the domain of like chatbots, but a lot of the other stuff has been like per se like around deep learning. A lot of that has been focused around image processing and computer vision, which isn't quite like chatbot like territory. So they're kind of independent trends, but I can see how the two, like when they intersected, they kind of just blew up, and people are now really excited about this.
How powerful is the image recognition at this point? I've heard that like the gold standard for image recognition is finding out if you can spot a dick pic. And apparently that's one of the hardest things for computers to spot, and they still have to employ, like a lot of companies to do moderation have to still employ like thousands of individuals to do it.
Yeah.
Because humans are still way better at spotting this than computers, and I don't know if this has changed.
So like nudity detection is like a major use of machine learning. In general, like content moderation is like one of the main it's true. But it's also used for computer vision has kind of reached the stage where certain very, very constrained classification tasks, where I show you a picture and you tell me what's in it, we actually have computers performing at as good or better than humans do. Nice. And that has only recently started to change in the last like 5 years.
Google was just talking about it.
Yeah, the Google research blog has like a bunch of like cool articles about this stuff.
Yeah, it was like at the conference they gave for the Pixel, the new phone. So they were like, we were able to tell a couple of years ago or something, like the last time they was like, okay, we're able to tell it's polar bears or something, and now we can tell it's 2 polar bears sitting on a rock near a pool or something. Yeah. great.
Facebook had a really cool blog post where they were able to segment all the different things inside of a picture, and that means like draw a box down to like kind of the pixels of like, is this a donut, and every individual donut in the picture, which doesn't seem too impressive on the surface, but when you actually like dig into the details of how they did it, it's like a pretty big feat
Took
of
50
engineering.
people 2
Yeah,
years
it's really
working
cool.
every day. My goal, I mean, so the chatbot that I built, and I guess I'm both ashamed and proud of it at the same time. I was sitting at a chatbot conference in New York, and during 1.5 hour span, one of the guys got up there and was talking about like how he built his chatbot in the span. Or I don't think it was a woman. She was saying, "I built my chatbot in like an hour and a half, and it became a huge thing on Medium." And it's like how to turn your resume into a chatbot. And at that same time, I received 3 different texts from 3 different women I know saying, "I'm so tired of these fuckboys," and they just sent me like the texts that these men had sent them, basically saying like, "Hey, like, you up? You still, like, can you send me nudes?" Like all like this annoying, vulgar, repulsive shit that the fuckboys of New York send them on a regular basis. And so I decided in that moment, through the inspiration of the chatbot conference, to build my own fuckboy chatbot, and to see like how hard is it to actually make a chatbot that sounds exactly like your run-of-the-mill fuckboy. And 30 minutes later, I sent it out to the like 20 people I thought would appreciate it most.
I think I remember seeing it.
Yeah, you sent me that too, and I was so confused.
And so it's just the
Steve,
most...
I'm not sending you nudes again.
It's not me. It's a digitized fuckboy.
Yes.
But all it does is just like, it's so annoying because it just messages you randomly saying, "Hey, send me nudes," and then what I'm bringing this back to is if you actually were to send it a nude photo, how do I make my chatbot smart enough to know whether or not you sent it a real nude? A, and B, one of you. Are we that close?
Oh my god!
Or is that something that's still a couple years off?
The funny thing is that the whole thing about tagging your friends in Facebook photos, where it actually can recommend down to the person, like did you mean, or do you want to tag Steve Dean in this photo?
Don't tell me Facebook knows what my genitals look like.
I don't know about that, but if your face is in the photo, then there's a good chance that Facebook would be able to pick it up. So there's you could piggyback off of
So
Facebook's.
Is Pornhub now paying Facebook for access to the
Oh, boy.
faces so it can tag all the dicks on the entire internet and append them to a unique social profile?
I don't think that's what's happening.
No, that's definitely the master
But
plan.
in like a dystopian like future, that could be something that does occur.
And by dystopian future, you mean it's probably already on Black Mirror, the series about dystopian futures.
It's up on the
outcomes.
next Netflix episode.
But like actually, aside from that, there's got to be APIs that query, like there's got to be an API for TinEye or something similar that goes through images that are known on the internet. And so it doesn't seem that crazy. And I know that there's definitely ones that
We've actually built a service that is very similar to TinEye. It's a reverse image service. It's called Match. It's on our GitHub, which is kind of ironic that
you're doing God's work.
We're doing something similar. We used to be working on computer vision problems, doing copyright and trademark detection. So
are we getting too close to home now with the
dashing kids' dreams of printing their favorite Pokemon character on their T-shirt. So that's that was kind of the technology, content moderation, one kind of content moderation.
So I literally once I was hanging out with Joy Ding and we made a Pokemon OkCupid profile called PokeCupid, and we like basically made it a profile for Pikachu, and like the stats were just like, oh, I'm single, or it was partnered because he had Ash.
Okay.
Or she, I don't know if Pikachu has a gender, and it's like
he does.
We got into like religious beliefs where Pikachu's like, oh, I don't believe in evolution, I really don't want that, and then it got banned very quickly, and I'm hoping it wasn't because they use your software.
So OkCupid doesn't use us yet, but maybe if they wanted to automate some of that ops, they could. There's humans going through everybody's profile pictures behind the scenes for a lot of these like major websites, because that's one of the few things that's actually public, and they don't want to be representing things that they don't.
Is it like Mechanical Turk, or is it?
Yeah. A lot of it's Mechanical Turk.
Okay.
But Mechanical Turk is pretty raw option.
Yes.
You have to deal with like physical humans. Like behind the scenes. A lot of like the newer kind of services around scalable workforces kind of put another layer in between you and them.
I have a question for you. And I don't know if you might have an answer to this. You can also choose to refrain from answering it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor, and this was maybe like a couple of years back, so it may just be popular knowledge at this point, but Bing was trying to compete with Google in search rankings, and it realized that the number one failing was porn, and that like Google was just, everyone went to Google for porn, no one went to Bing for porn, and so they hired an army of mechanical Turks or some sort of like, you know, agency with lots of humans to go through and just tag all the porn they could find and add it to the Bing repository.
Yeah.
So that Bing's search rankings for porn, because that's like, what is it, like 40% of all internet searches are porn, like, so that they could rank higher.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's pretty smart. I mean, there's data that's typically called data enrichment, where you like basically like pay to like enrich whatever data set you have, and you know, some amount of dollars, I'm sure, are spent every year just making sure that you know when certain things are happening in certain videos. So
Leave it to Bing to not realize that the internet's for porn.
Yeah, they're slow on the uptake.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I guess it's better now. I mean, I can't say that I've experimented with this, although now I'm kind of
Do you
curious.
still go to Google or?
The last time I think I used search engines for porn was like Alta Vista back in the day.
Yeah,
because that's when like
That's
that
a
was,
good search engine.
Well, that was like the first step I ever took into the internet. Like
Right.
that was like my grade school. It was maybe like 5th grade. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to show you a new thing. It's called a search engine." And like the one they showed us Ask Jeeves and Alta Vista.
Yes.
This was before Google existed.
Jeeves
Alta
was so
Vista.
And so
confusing.
naturally, like the first inroads for my
Do you remember
adult
Babelfish?
life.
Do you remember Babelfish?
No.
Oh my God! I think it was
Rings a bell, but-
it was like a Alta Vista service that translated between two languages before Google Translate. It was like
Interesting.
Right, that's what I figured. Okay.
old school translation, and it's based on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy like idea. But I used to like type in my Spanish homework, and like
I used to
Yeah,
outsource.
You're live. This is.
You remember Aardvark?
Aardvark.
Okay,
Ooh.
it's a random question answer. Okay, so think Quora, but in real time. So I think there's one, like Jelly might be that these days. I haven't checked out Jelly. I had like tests, and I used to send my questions to Aardvark, because they allowed me to use the internet.
Who's they?
The class, the college class. They allowed me to use the internet. So I sent it to Aardvark and received answers, within a couple minutes. So
Nice.
that was, I got an A.
You got an A. Right, I want to steer this somewhat away from
Yes.
sultry,
We digress.
sad topics. What can we do that's more tied to social good right now, using either chatbots or machine learning, or even what are you doing? What have you done? If there's nothing, what is being done that you can speak to that's really interesting? Like I made a chatbot at the latest. What was the hackathon we were at?
That was
There's
Disrupt.
TechCrunch Disrupt,
Yeah.
and it was for finding out your love language so you can communicate better with your partner or partners. Basically, like once you know how you tend to prefer to speak or touch or engage with another person, so that you can, like, as soon as you know theirs and they know yours, you can solve that communication divide. And so I built
Makes
a
sense.
chatbot for doing exactly that,
Cool.
identifying your love language. So like it's like minor social good. But I know that like there's much better ones being built. I just don't know if you have any kind of.
So the core technology behind a chatbot is around like the conversational interface. So
Okay.
it's around the fact that your input and output are both like text and kind of like you need to frame the interaction around a conversation, around like kind of like what we're having now, where a lot of the times the chatbot creators will create these kind of like graphs of you do this, then this happens, you do this, then this happens, and it kind of leads you down a tree. That's also very similar to how, for example, like refugees receive help. In refugee camps, they often have questionnaires or forms or individuals at the camps that can lead them through a series of questions where they're extracting information about kind of their lives or where they need help the most, or you can imagine surveys being positioned this way. I actually have a few friends. They're working on a company called Humanitas that is basically doing exactly what I just described, where they're trying to assist refugee ground operations, specifically around the Syrian refugee crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So
do the refugees typically have like mobile ready smartphones that are able to, or Wi-Fi enabled?
one of the interesting things is that there's actually like smartphones have taken over the world. Like not everybody has access to clean water or clean electricity, but there's actually greater smartphone penetration, and a lot of the refugees that end up leaving these kind of like political conflict areas in Syria often are the ones that are able to get out, and therefore they also are the ones that are connected in some way.
Yeah.
So
Like that, I was thinking, like, would this kind of service be immediately applicable? So rather than having to like wait in lines, they can just like talk to a chatbot for 5 minutes and give it enough information that they save themselves 5
I believe
hours.
that's the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds really fun.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like it can help a lot, and also just making sure that there's better or there's more like accountability on both sides. That there's like an understanding between like the nonprofits that are helping and the refugees, like about what needs are.
I feel like at some point I should just get into the topic that is probably on a lot of people's minds of what the hell should I even do with the chatbot? Like, I right now I've tried out so many, and they're just mostly annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe. I get my Dig feed every day, so Dig, which I used to love.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Another
R.I.P.
throwback.
Yeah, it's such a throwback. My God, I went to Dig Nation. Anywho, so Dig right now is just another news source, right? And so they send me
what?
a news source.
I didn't know it was still around.
No,
to be
they
honest.
pivoted. Now they curate stuff, and so they they're good to read every once in a while. So they every day they give us they give me the most popular, most important things to know of the past day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your feed of 3 things, and a chatbot it says like, these 2 things, like Trump did this, this and this, and
It's like the whole feed.
No, it's just 3. Yeah, exactly. That and Trump takes up the whole feed. And then you click the button, you see the small digest, right? That's the only one that I've seen work for me. I mean, I tried. I was very optimistic. I'm like, I'm gonna get the weather every day from that weather, the weather pooch or whatever. Who's that? The quirky
Yeah.
weather dog. Didn't
I
work.
haven't even used that one.
Well, that was. I mean, what other 'cause
So I'll be honest.
I'm actually
I use
also,
exactly one chatbot.
okay. I'm talking Facebook Messenger chatbots also.
Yeah, and I
Clarify.
specifically use Facebook M on Facebook Messenger, and it's
Oh,
pretty
damn
much
it.
the only chatbot that I
Yeah.
use.
I don't
and
have access
I
to
know
it,
that that's
yeah.
like I know.
Well, so
I
tell
can't
it.
even invite people. Like,
Oh, yeah?
like they said I had 5 invites, and then I was
And then
like,
how?
oh, can I invite these people? And they're like, they'll receive an invite, and then they never get an invite. And I'm like, But and I have proof of this. You can't delete messages on Facebook Messenger. Maybe it deleted them, but the Facebook M experience is really nice because it's actually a human behind the scenes. I'll be honest.
What is it?
It's basically they have some sort of automation service that they have going on, but the majority of it is just classifying what is your message to the kind of question it is. So I can tell that they have something for restaurant requests behind the scenes,
Okay.
for airplane requests, so for booking flights. They can call Comcast, which is pretty awesome, so I never have to deal with them. That was truly what
that itself is a paid service.
I think it actually is.
Yeah.
There are. I've seen things online to cancel your Comcast,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they'll literally you just pay it, and it'll do it.
So you mentioned 3.
Those are actually the main 3. Comcast being a more recent discovery, but I use it for restaurant reservations quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Do you say get me a reservation for this place, and they actually call or something?
Yeah, they call, but
Oh
it's
my
weird.
God.
What comes out on the other end apparently is this vote quarter style. It's almost as if they typed on a computer, speak this, and then
I
they hit
cannot allow
enter,
you to
and
do
then
that,
they speak it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because they don't want you to actually get in touch with a physical human, because that would break the illusion. But I think it's a really cool service. It's very nice because the price is right. It's 100% free, and there are other services like Fin that exist that do this for pay, but it's not I haven't seen one that's a fully automated chatbot that really feels compelling quite yet. That's the truth. A lot of them are kind of more I mean, like the fuckboy chatbot is it's cute, it's cool.
10 out of 10.
It's funny, but maybe
It's
not the most
very
useful.
smart, but that's the point.
See, in certain circumstances, it works really well, but I feel like a lot of them, because they're built around this idea that going from, you kind of want to be able to say whatever you want to it and it respond in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
But that means that it's kind of one chatbot to rule them all makes sense, where this is your everything chatbot and not one chatbot for every individual task.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm also... I've used other chatbots like Luca
Okay.
and Magic and
Yeah, Magic. I've used a lot. Yeah.
yeah, but they're I consistently use them.
I was
kind of
impressed
my
by
main
Ethan, even though it was just Ethan. That was really cool. It was one guy.
For Magic.
No, that was Ethan. Ethan was before Magic.
Oh,
Ethan was a chatbot, but it was just an app, and you go on to talk with Ethan.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So that one guy is just like quickly replying. To
Yeah,
every,
he's yeah.
every request he gets, and he's just replying with his own words.
And it was
I
like
mean,
this
that's
old
what some of these
fat on.
many of
Yeah.
these bots are.
That's
like,
what a couple of mine were. Like I
Yeah.
made one called Steve Bot, and
Yeah.
that was like my first one that I built. And the messages would just go to my Slack, and so I would just open up Slack and be like, "Oh, I wonder who that person is," and then like reply as Steve Bot.
that's cool.
I was
So-
thinking about doing one for the show as I was. This was I didn't even tell you yet. Where it was like we'd have one and it would send people the new episodes, and if they wanted to chat, it would just go to a joint inbox.
Yeah, yeah.
We just chat with them.
That's cool. It kind of makes sense for like if you're like
It
a
was
one.
thought. Yeah.
If you're one person and you need like a intercom style like customer
Yeah,
service
yeah.
line,
Yeah.
kind of makes sense.
No, it's
you don't,
great.
You don't want to like add everybody on Facebook, but you can make a bot
Yeah.
of yourself.
And there's also a few services that let you do like one-click addition. So if you have a Facebook page and you want to turn that page into a bot,
Yes.
it literally is one click or like one copy and pasted URL, and then suddenly like your page appears with a bot that now people can message it.
Yep.
The bot makers are pretty cool.
Yeah, like the services there are now like it's at a level now where the very rudimentary like getting a bot that can reply to basic things and also let you handle any of like the extensive like difficult customer service questions, like those you can set up and install in under 2 minutes guaranteed, even if you have no prior experience.
Mhm.
And once you want to make it smarter, adding things like machine learning or like dynamic responses to content that wouldn't necessarily be pre-filtered or pre-understood. So like if someone says, "What's your favorite thing to do?" your chatbot, if you just like installed it out of nowhere, is not going to have an answer to that. It's going to be like respond like request invalid or like I don't get it. You can have a default response to the I don't get it. So you can say, I'm not sure I understand your request. How about you try saying one of these things that I do understand? I'm not that smart yet.
Yeah, that weather
Yeah.
bot had a couple quirky ones, and it was funny until he didn't understand anything I was saying. It's just weather in New York City.
That was not understood.
Wharf? No. Weather in New York City.
Were you talking to it or were you...
No.
Do we have chatbots that
There's
understand
one.
spoken
There's
word?
one I know of.
A lot of them are like speech to text, so they'll like try and interpret like your query as just a text string and then send it to the chatbot.
Also,
it's
Alexa
not really
works like
like-
that, sort of. No?
What is?
Alexa.
Alexa. Yeah.
I think so.
I mean,
I'm not totally sure.
and the API, you
So-
put in words, and it...
Alexa and Siri can both be dangerous in those moments. I have a couple of friends who like find that Alexa and Siri are like their, I guess like frenemies in a way.
Oh, really?
So like 80 to 90% of the time, it answers your question or like does whatever you say. If you say like Alexa, turn down the music goes down. Every once in a while, there's like a hiccup, and my one friend in particular, and she might be coming later on today. Every time she wants to like Siri, this is Siri in particular, it always is listening, and every once in a while when like Siri just decides that it wants to be a dick, it'll call this like really famous guy that's on her phone, and she has his
No.
number, and he's like really annoyed if he gets phone calls because it's like a direct phone call and he's like super busy all the time.
Why does it choose him?
It defaults to that, like no matter what, if it hears anything it wants to hear.
What if she like changes the guy's name?
Moves like Jagger. Calling Mick Jagger.
No, but like it's just so no matter like, and I've witnessed it multiple times where like it's a
Wow.
completely random string that has it's not no bearing on the previous one.
Oh, really?
And Siri's like, "Oh, you want me to call that guy?" And she's like, "In what alternate universe did you?"
She's like, how
hear
did you
it?"
learn that?
Like, stop it, Siri. So I'm afraid if like this, there are horror movies about this when our tech that usually listens to us decides it's gonna listen to some of us or selectively listen, or
I have whatever. No, I'm just saying, like, I have a random song called "Turn It Up," where it jokingly, like, in the song says, "Hey, turn it up," and you know, it even has the sound of the Mac.
Oh no.
And so I'm like, if I played that in a hackathon, all hell would raise loose.
Wait, so is that a thing that people are doing? Like, they're making content that interacts with your existing Alexa or
that's what I
Siri,
said at
so
the,
that it
at the
has a
Siri stuff.
conversation with.
You should say someone like send money to whatever in a popular song. But anywho, you were going to say something. I cut you off.
That's really dangerous.
I was like, you have to do it.
I'm just
send a tweet out to whatever, you know, this artist rocks.
You try it first.
I'm not a popular artist.
It's probably safer that way.
Yeah.
You can still try it.
Yeah, too maniacal. Go on.
I don't know if they allow you to send money quite yet through Siri. I think that they added support for kind of like user extensions. So like apps can now extend it in like other ways. But I think you have to refer to the app first and then actually do the extension.
Okay, sure. Go to Venmo and then send Pocket X. Yeah.
There you go.
We have to head out soon.
Yeah, I think we're good to wrap this one up. We've
Well,
covered a lot of
you're
fun
cutting
things.
him off in the middle.
We'll do final thoughts. But I
Yes.
think we've
Yeah, I mean, chatbots are interesting. They're cool. I'm not totally sold yet on the 100% automated ones, making it big or huge in the near term until we kind of solve a few outstanding problems in artificial intelligence, namely around natural language processing.
I just feel like everyone went in that wrong direction. I feel like it should be just automate the things that take a bunch of time and have a real person behind there to make it feel give that impression.
Yep. So that I think is like the future of them, and
so that's like
yeah.
Russian bride sites.
Yeah.
It's like mostly just pre-scripted filler text, but every once in a while a real person will come in if there's like a hard decision where they're like, oh yeah, we gotta like make that guy think it's a real woman in Russia.
sometimes I get typos, and then I'm like, oh, there's definitely a person.
yeah. Oh hells yeah. I guess. Thank you for being here. Right?
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming up next on this series, we're going to have another chatbot-themed segment, but it's around Aaron Cohn. He's working on a workplace happiness chatbot. So, like, you're like, I need puppies. I'm having such a terrible day today. And the chatbot's just like, puppies, you say? And then it, like, calls Uber to bring puppies to all. Like,
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, it's...
Aaron
I
always
feel like
had
that could.
puppies
I feel like if you
yeah.
put that in #random, that would.
It's called Happy
recall
Bot.
habit.
It's called Happy Bot. I'm really excited to like use it more because I just want to see how creative Aaron can get with that. But yeah, that'll be coming up later. But thank you, Alex, for coming out all the way to New York. Not just for this, although that would be cool.
Here for a week. Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
And then this series is called Inflection Points, and you can find out more at theconversation.is. And then
great.
we'll have this video go up there at some point once we do some post-production.
Hooray!
Like when I screwed up the camera for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.